Digital payments have quickly become part of how we shop, travel, and do business. The shift is happening fast and it's opening the door to new possibilities for businesses, consumers, and the wider economy. At the same time, the ways we protect transactions are evolving just as rapidly because with more convenience comes more complex risk. Today, we're taking a closer look at this new reality. How is global commerce transforming? Where does Morocco fit in this new momentum? And how do we make sure trust keep pace with innovation? To help us unpack all of this, we're joined by Charles Lobo, Senior Vice President at Risk at Visa, covering Central and Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Charles, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Ahmed. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Let's start with the big picture. How is commerce changing globally? And what is the specific opportunity for Morocco in this new global environment?
So, I like to talk about the fact that commerce has changed more in the last 2 years than it did in the last 5, and more in the last 5 than in the previous 50. Why is that? It's because we had a watershed moment in human history, which was the pandemic. And what the pandemic did globally was it took the entire humanity and thrust it forward into the digital domain. So because of the pandemic, our lives became more digital than ever before. Now, what has happened in the last 2 years is there's a whole new generation of consumers that have come into the arena where they are transacting, consuming, etc. And how they transact and consume has also evolved. So if you look at Generation Z will be almost a quarter of the spend that happens in our CEMEA region, Central and Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa, in the next few years. Generation Z exhibits certain very specific behaviors. They want very seamless payment experiences that are embedded in how they just go about their day-to-day lives. Now that presents a lot of challenges because they don't like friction and they want these seamless experiences. And so for us in the payments industry, it's a huge opportunity for us to look at how we can cater to these new ways of living, new ways of transacting, and new ways of paying.
Thank you so much. And with all this opportunity comes new frontier risks, of course, and we know that threats are evolving faster than ever. What are the biggest security shifts that you are tracking today?
So, I think there are some very, very key dimensions of the new threats landscape. The first one is the proliferation of ways to pay. There are just so many ways in which you can make a payment today, whether it is the traditional card payment, which is dip or tap or swipe, to account payments, person-to-person transfers, QR codes, wallets, and the such like. What that does is, with this massive proliferation of ways to pay, the landscape and the attack surface for bad actors to try and infiltrate and do harm has increased tremendously. So that's the first one. The second one is all around artificial intelligence, AI. Now, we talk about AI because we in Visa are heavily investing in AI and putting it to a lot of good use. However, bad actors also have access to the same technology. You see, what AI is doing is it's being able to democratize access to very powerful compute models. And today we are in an age where those same technologies are being put to use by bad actors, for example, to create something like a deep fake. A deep fake is a near perfect clone of either a voice or an image or a video of an individual. And that's what's making it incredibly hard for consumers to tell the difference between what is real and what's not real. So the power of AI and the power of compute, and compute is getting cheaper and cheaper and more powerful. So this puts a lot of tech in the hands of a lot of bad people. So that's the second dimension. The third dimension is around the fact that consumers, and I just mentioned about Generation Z, consumers tend to be very trusting, but now they are in a domain where this trust has to be protected more than ever. So what we need to do to enable consumers not to be the weakest link is a big piece of a challenge for us, right? And it's as much a challenge, but also an opportunity.
Yeah, so the generally maybe behavior consuming is increasing confidence. At the same time, having different ways of payments also expand the risk of diverse threats and coming with AI. You are using AI as an enabler for to increase and enhance your protecting transaction, but at the same time, it's being used by by other people who can also use that as AI scams. Talking about this specifically about risk, you recent Stay Secure study in Morocco found a clear paradox. People feel confident online, yet many still fall victim of scams. You've called this costly confidence. Can you tell us more about that?
So every year we go out to 17 markets and we conduct a consumer research. We talk to about 6,000 individuals. Morocco is one market that is covered in these 17 markets. And we try to understand how consumers behave, how consumers react to the language of fraud, how they can understand whether a fraud is happening or not. And you're absolutely right. The study this year has shown us that a very high percentage, 90% plus of people who we talked to felt confident, mostly or totally confident that they could spot the signs of a fraud. It's actually close to 100% of people. However, when you actually ask them whether they've been a victim of fraud, close to half, about 44%, said that they'd been a victim of fraud. So when the fraud is actually happening, they miss all the signs and signals. Now, it's not all bad news. 75% or almost 3/4 of the people said that they intend to use more digital financial services in the future, and the same proportion said they felt confident around using it. I think the important message for us is, how do we protect that confidence? How do we make sure that we are investing in the right tools, technologies, and consumer awareness to protect that confidence? Because that confidence is a hard-fought confidence. It's very easy to lose it.
And I think this is the real challenge today with this increasing confidence about mobile payments and expanding mobile payments techniques. When there's the need to protect it more with sophisticated technology, even the costly confidence and the rise of sophisticated AI scams. Can you walk us through how multi-layer security protects that transaction at every step?
Sure. So Visa deploys this multi-layered strategy that you talked to. Let me demystify what multi-layered means. So at a network level, and we are a global network, we are in 200 countries, we process $16 trillion of value on our network globally every year. This global network needs to be protected. And how do we protect it? By putting AI to good use. So in the last 5 years, we've invested $12 billion in data and AI infrastructure. We are running sophisticated machine learning and artificial intelligence driven models to identify at a network level out of pattern behavior. So we can know when a financial institution, for example, is being targeted by fraudsters to conduct bad activity. We can even know at a card level when a particular card is being targeted. So that's a network level monitoring, which is heavily invested in with AI and machine learning. Now comes the tools and facilities that we offer to our clients so that our clients can do their job really well in protecting their end consumers. So there's network level protection and there's product level protection that we give to our clients. What do I mean by that? We have over 100 products which have got AI inherently built into them for security. So it's security by design. An example, in e-commerce, we invented and built what was the 3D secure technologies, which is securing the 3 domains in the e-commerce world. The latest iteration of that, which is the 2.0, allows for risk-based authentication. So again, AI-based models that evaluate a transaction in real time. At Visa, we have the capability to evaluate 500 risk parameters on a single transaction in the amount of time it takes to blink your eye. Again, it's AI driven. Now, what that does is it gives our clients the ability to use these technologies to keep their customers safe. Tokenization is another great example. All of us love our Apple Pay and Samsung Pay. Underpinning all of that is tokens. Tokens basically take your 16-digit card number and convert it into something that is completely useless to a fraudster. How is that done? It's done with encryption technologies that are bulletproof. So tokenization, 3D secure. We also offer authentication services. The Visa Customer Authentication Service, again, is an AI inherent model that allows in e-commerce a person to be authenticated, a customer to be authenticated. So the customer has the power to validate whether it's they themselves who are using the credential. So all of these tools that we give, I like to call it the belts and braces approach. The belts being the network level monitoring, the braces being the AI embedded tools and solutions that we give to our clients, because the combination of those allows us to keep the ecosystem safe. It's not just what Visa does, but also what our clients do, because that's what makes up the entire ecosystem.
Hearing your perspective about investing so much in AI to protect with different systems, the 3D system, tokenization, to have secure payments, this is wonderful to have it, but at the same time, there's an awareness to be raised for the consumer's part about the fact of not sharing codes. And do you think that it's corporate thing to do, or it's a government thing to do, to raise awareness about not sharing our own ID for payments, for example?
So building consumer awareness is everybody's business. That's what we truly believe in Visa, because at the heart of it, it's about trust. So it's everybody's business. So the consumer has a responsibility. The financial institution that owns the customer has a responsibility. We work very closely with governments across the world to enable them and to give them the assets. We talked about the Visa Stay Secure study. The Stay Secure study is a research-based initiative that actually generates insights that we publicly enable people to consume. So we have a public website where you can look up the results of the Stay Secure study. We create information assets out of that. We provide those assets to our clients. Our clients can use those assets in order to raise awareness with their end users and customers. But the important thing here is about how in the new generation of commerce, we do a lot of situational awareness building. Because you can understand the amount of emails and messages that we get. It's very difficult to have a consumer tune out from those messages. So the opportunity we have is how can we sharpen our strategies? How can we build situational awareness? And Visa is doing everything in its power in order to create the opportunities for all of the constituents in the ecosystem to do their bit. It's everyone's responsibility.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what is the next frontier for commerce and how you are working now to build the security for it? This would be my last question to conclude this interview with you.
So the next frontier of commerce is already here. Let's put it that way. And it's all about agentic commerce. Like maybe a year ago or 18 months ago, if you were planning a holiday for your family, you would probably go to a search engine and say, can you tell me information about this location? Or, and you would get a whole bunch of results which would tell you, here's a good flight to take, here's a great hotel to stay at, here's the opportunities for entertainment, etc., etc. But now we've got AI agents. And you can tell the agent, please find me a great holiday destination that I can take my family to. And the agent will come back to you with curated results because the agent has been learning about what you like, what you don't like. Like, for example, you may like to relax at the beach, whereas your wife may, like to go shopping. So the agent will be smart enough to find some place where both of you can have something great to do. But this next generation of commerce that you're talking about, that is when the agent actually goes and makes the purchases on your behalf. So you have delegated to the agent that, okay, You book my flight, book my hotels, book my vacation experiences for me and my family. So the agent will actually perform the transaction on your behalf. How are we getting ready for that? We are ready for that because we built tokenization. And tokenization, again, is the fundamental infrastructure that enables agentic commerce to take place in a very safe way.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your perspectives. We've seen that the future of commerce is already here. It's fast, it's digital, and full of opportunities, but its success depends on one constant confidence that every transaction is protected. Charles, thank you very much for sharing your perspective, and thank you, dear audience, for joining us. Let's keep the conversation going as Morocco and the world continues to build a secure and dynamic digital economy. Thank you very much.